What is good, y'all? Back at it again. Y'all, I feel like I'm shirtless in every one of these videos. But this is my backyard, and this is one of my safest places. So you guys are gonna see me back here a lot more right up until winter. Recently, I've realized that everything that's been happening has been building me up to be half astral, half physical. Now, I have noticed that, especially for the last few years, that my mind and my body, everything is really attached to the physical and the astral. And it's like I have a double life. So sometimes I could wake up and I'm like every time I wake up, I'm like, okay, I'm back in the physical. Or when I go to sleep, I know I'm going back in the astral and I go over what I'm gonna be doing and where I wanna go. And then I go and I do it. And a lot of times, most of the time, I'm aware that I'm in the astral. So I notice I'm living this double life. It's like I'm being trained to be half astral, half physical. And I'm starting to really like it because there's some things that I can only do in the astral and there's some things I can only do in the physical. And there's a lot of reasons why I have to be in both. When you are a half astral and half physical being, like you're really tied to the astral realm, and that's also what this rune means, which I have on my back. I see that right there. That means that I am tied to the astral and the physical, both yin and yang. So when I'm physical, I'm also part astral. So I could tell what's going on in the astral realm. I could see the beings. I could feel the beings. I could speak to the beings. But I'm also in the physical, so I'm speaking and interacting with the physical realm and beings that, especially beings that are only aware of the physical, I'm operating in their level of reality. But also, if I want to fully go in the astral, put all my awareness in the astral without my physical, I have to astral travel, which is going to sleep and then going into the astral realm. So for me, all I got to do is go to sleep and I'll wake up in the astral realm. It's not like I have to do anything anymore. It's like I just do it. So you guys know I used to have seizures every month starting in grade 10. And doctors didn't know what they were. No one knew what they were because they weren't regular seizures. They weren't destroying or like hurting my brain. If anything, it was actually making my brain better. And so every time they couldn't figure out what it was. And then later on, years later, when it first started, we figured out that they were upgrades. Like every time I would have one, I would perceive the world differently. I would feel more, or I would have a new ability or something. Like I would always just, the world just felt different. I knew something was changed and I'd wake up like, whoa, like, and I would want to dive into myself like, what's new? It felt like a whole upgrade, literally like you upgrade your computer and you restart it. Now I don't have to have a seizure to get the upgrades. I just feel the feeling and I just like, I get through it. But before, my body used to be very overwhelmed by them. And I didn't realize till now that I knew these upgrades were giving me information and upgrading me, but I had no idea that the whole goal was to get me to be half astral, half physical, to be tied to both. So now that I'm here, I'm realizing, damn, like the whole goal was to get me to be meshed with both realms. It's super fascinating. I woke up in the astral and I realized that these negative aliens like to hide as humans and look like something else or look like someone you know, whatnot. They're very disguised. So like the one time I was actually in my house and there was these negative aliens posing as my family in the house. And so they were there and they're sitting down. Someone was like, take a picture. And I knew it was my guys. They were like, take a picture. So I was like, okay. I brought my camera up and my 3 ants that were sitting in the corner, they did not look human anymore. One of them looked like, it was like they were a person with chalk on their face and they were smiling like this. And I was like, whoa. And the other ones, one of them was like this dark, it's almost like she had a beak. She was like part crow, but it was like evil crow, like red eyes. And the other one, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was like some sort of troll or something. But I looked at them and you knew they were evil. But then when you looked back at them, they just looked like your ants. So I realized what was happening and I was like, I was actually glad that my guides have me use this astral technology. I've been noticing they've been teaching me about astral technology more. I'm gonna make some videos about that. But this one technology was like a seeing device, so you could see without any veil. And so I looked and I saw, it was like basically like a lie thing. Like it shows you the truth. So I saw it and I was like, oh, I knew what was going on. I looked at my mom in the astral. And then I wanted to test it out because I knew they were negative aliens. But I was like, you know what? Let's play around and see what's up. So I played a little spy game. I was like, I went up to them and I was just like, hey, aunties. And I'd hug them up and stuff and act like I didn't see who they really are. And they were like, my one aunt that I was hugging, she was like, get off of me. Ugh. And then my other aunts were just like, yeah, okay. Right there, just like trying to play along to get me off. It was funny. And then after, when I got them out the house, I was like, y'all get out. I know who you are. Get out. Then there was another assignment I had because I remember there was one guy, there was this dove in the sky that kept watching what I was doing. It was literally like a white dove and it was flying around. And I knew it was a negative alien technology to observe. See, this is the thing is, I get this information without fully knowing how I get the information. I just know I'm getting it without awareness. So they'll give me technology and then they'll teach me how to use it, but then I won't remember how they taught me how to use it, but then I will remember what it does and like how to use it. But I don't remember how, like the tutorial, like whoever taught me and how they taught me. This dove that was in the sky, I saw it and I just, humans call it like counterintelligence. It's like when you know you're being observed, so you operate in a way that you know you're being observed without letting them know that you're being observed. It's like that. It's like some sort of counterintelligence. And I learned this in astral school a lot. So I noticed it and I'm just like looking up at the dove and I'm just keep doing whatever I'm doing, act like it's not there. And you do little things that literally act like you didn't see it because they expect you to like act different if you see it. But I acted like I didn't see it at all. Then after, I go back inside and I felt compelled to go look in the front yard. And there was a man in like this Cybertronic suit. He was a negative alien. And he was operating the dove. Like he would throw the dove out and then come back and like check the stuff and then go beep, 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 and then throw it back up. And I saw it and I was gonna turn around and I was like, I'm not gonna do this. But I was like, wait a second. Wait, I could, I'm in the astral, so I could fight him real good, right? I could smoke his ass. I practiced summoning my sword instead of having to go in my room and go get it. I practiced summoning it, and then I got it in my hand, and then I literally just started running at him, and he got scared, and I sliced him, and he was gone, and his dove was like dead on the ground. But then he had these, if you want to say his minions, his workers that were going in certain people's houses. And they were going in the one house down the street that my friends moved out of and the family moved in. When I looked over, there was 3 of these like scouts for this being. And they were running into the house. And I was chasing these demons. They were like running around the house doing something. And they were trying to like scatter and not, so basically like confuse me. And I got one of them and I slapped his ass with the sword. And I said, what are you doing? I said, come here, what are you doing? And he wouldn't tell me. He's just like, ah. And he's like, he basically ain't gonna tell me. So I was like, all right then. And I let him go and I forget what I did. This is where it got cut off. But then I started hunting down the other guys. I think I like chained him or something, I don't know. And I hunted the other guys. But they were gone and they like ran in the forest. And then later on in the travel, I was hunting them around town. So, you walk around town, you're just doing whatever. And then they pose as someone else now. So they look like some of my friends or people that would just be regular people around town. And I was talking to them. And I knew it was them, but I didn't fully know yet. But they started acting like a little nervous. So I was like, it's them. So when I found these other 2, they ran and we were at the fairgrounds in my town. So in all these assignments, I'm aware that everything that's happening is centered in my town. And they scattered and I was looking for them and I'm hunting these 2 that are left. The other people that were there that didn't know that they were demons were gone. And then these guys I was looking for. And then we ended up in this area where there was a huge battle going on between positive extraterrestrials and negative extraterrestrials. I remember looking at one of the E.Ts that was positive. They all had different skin colors. One of them looked like an elf and he had dark skin. And the other one though that was telling me, that I was talking to, he was white and blonde and he was kind of buff and he had wings and he was like flying around. I looked at him and I was like, it's like we had a telepathic conversation. I was like, do you need anything? Do I need to fight here? And he literally told me out loud, he's like, go and go get those guys. And so he went back fighting, and then I started running in the forest looking for these two, bro. And I didn't know where they went or what happened. I just remember looking for them, and then I end up landing at my one astral house after, which was the one fairy house I talked about in my other video. I chilled there for a little bit, regathered myself, and then I was like, okay, time to go and find them again. And I don't think I found them. I don't remember. That's where the journey or the travel gets fuzzy. But I just remember that battle, and that big battle. Felt like kind of Game of Thrones energy. And the guy told me, he said, don't worry about this. Go and get those two guys. And I couldn't find them from what I remember. But you know the travel ain't done yet. Still got lots more to do. And some of the people that I mentor in my town, they also are involved in this war. And a lot of them are like younger kids. Like one of them is in grade 9. And he sees spirits like it's nothing. He sees beings like it's nothing. He's been fighting these negative aliens for a bit. He wasn't there, but when we do talk sometimes, he'll report to me and be like, oh yeah, they came in my backyard and they were doing this. And it's funny because I'm already aware of partly what's going on. His guides already come to me and let me know what's going on. Before he even says anything, I know about this and that, tell me more about it. And he's like, oh yeah, there was someone in my backyard and they were doing whatever. And so essentially he's also partly in the war. One thing I did notice is that I was practicing on summoning the sword instead of going to get it. So I realized I got to start getting better at summoning my sword. I have no problem fighting these guys, but summoning the sword I noticed was kind of hard, and I couldn't fly yet. You guys know flying in the astrals kind of hard depending on who you are, but I didn't want to fly. I wanted to run at them. You know, I like being a human when I defeat these beings because I hate when humans defeat them. Meaning like looking like this, like you don't change your form, you just go as a human. They hate that joint, bro. They hate that joint. So I usually fight as a human unless I want to fly or something, and then I summon my wings or something like that, right? But this one I just wanted to use my human form, and I had boots on. I was in like a whole agent suit, so they knew I was an agent. But then when I didn't want them to know, I would change my clothes so I look just like a regular person. So yeah, that's what was up last night. I found it really cool, and there was lots more, but I'm gonna keep that personal. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. We're gonna talk more about this stuff. See you later.